wanting to join a bereavement group specific to suicide. Because I was so embarrassed and felt so alone and did not know anyone else dealing with this issue, I didn't want to be in a mixed bereavement group. I wanted to be in a group where everyone was dealing with the exact same type of loss. And I was able to find the group that I joined through Postvention Resources of Maryland. So it's just the state of Maryland, but I'm sure that Virginia, DC probably has the exact same type of link. It's just Postvention Resources of Maryland.
Thank you.
Jesse, I have the same question for you. In terms of sources of support that you sought or that you found were helpful.
The first thing I started to do was write the book. And I learned in hindsight that they tell you never write a book while you're grieving. I didn't know that. I was driven to do it because also with regard to my son, he wrote poetry. And even as a 12-year-old, he would write under the covers at night. But his handwriting was impossible to read because of his language, because of his hand trim. But when he died, he had given me his password to everything. I mean, to his contact with his girlfriends, to Facebook, to everything. So I got his laptop and I looked at his poetry, and because he had a spell check and because he could type at that point in time, I was just driven to share. I thought no one will ever come to know him and how many thoughts he had. So I did that and I found that therapeutic. But then I encountered doing research for the book and even making the connections that you make when you write about your own life, seeing something that happened to him when he was 16 and how that connected to choices that he made when he was 23 that you might not have put together before, and mistakes that I made. I just started pulling so many things together, and through that, and then doing some research about addiction, I connected with people that really inspired me, and that was really my solace beyond writing the book. Groups here in Baltimore, some of them national, and I have really joined forces with these people who I'm impressed, even know who I am, much less reach out to me and have helped me. So I've become an advocate for drug policy reform, and I believe we have a long way to go in that regard. And in terms of incarcerating somebody for possession of drugs, I just don't understand it, and it's disproportionately black and brown people as well as people with disabilities, and it's really insidious when you look at black and white people use drugs to the same extent, but the number of people incarcerated that are black versus white is shameful. And so that's just one element of what we're doing wrong, and of course the United States has the highest overdose rate in the world and the highest incarceration rate. So those two facts right there tell you all that we have to do to move forward. So I learned a lot about stigma, I learned a lot about grief, and I have told other people that I speak with when they're grieving on top of feeling stigmatized by whatever it was that they're grieving over. My bottom line is shame is a waste of time. I don't know how to put it more simply. Just move beyond it. You did, first of all, nobody's a perfect parent. And secondly, we all make mistakes. And if we can turn our mistakes into something that helps somebody else, then it was all worthwhile. And that's all we can do. And in any community, the elders can help the younger people in a lot of ways. And I think the more connections we can make, the better. So I just have gotten a lot out of trying to spare others his fate. And so I guess that's been my solace, and the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people that I've met along the way.
Thank you, Jessie. I just wanted to say, same for me. As embarrassed as I was, the more understanding that I had, I no longer feel like I was a bad mom. I was a great mom. And it's not anything to be embarrassed about that I lost my son in this way. The thing to be embarrassed about is that we don't talk about it. If I don't share my story, another mother will never hear the signs that I miss.
Thank you.